Irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are numbers that cannot be written as a fraction. An example, or examples, we have square root of 2, pi, square root of 3, and square root of 5. Well, you can try taking the square root on your calculators, right? In other words, ask yourself, what number times itself will give you 2, what number times itself will give you 3, what number times itself will give you 5. Pi is a known value, right? Just for reference. You're going to have a hard time with the square root, so for this particular case. So square root of 2, do you notice? It gives you a decimal value, right? And whenever we take a square root of a number, we get plus or minus sign added through that. Because you have two possible solutions, a positive and a negative answer. So in this case, it's an irrational number because it's continuous. You can continue with your decimal forever, ideally. So rough approximation, 1.41 in this case, square root of 2, just a reference. Pi, once again, pi, we roughly approximated to 3.14. But in this case, a more exact value, or a little bit closer to it, which we'll never get, is 3.141592654, etc., right? So, rough approximation, we say it's 3.14, which is what we call irrational. It's a continuous number, non-stop. Okay, square root of 3, plus or minus 1.7320508008, etc., or roughly plus or minus 1.73. Okay, square root of 5, plus or minus 2.2360679777, etc., or 2.24 roughly. Okay, decimals are rational or irrational numbers. As an example, 3/4. That's exactly 0.75. So even though we can write it as a decimal, 0.75, it's stops there. It's not continuous. It's exactly 0.75 versus pi, once again, it's an irrational number. It's continuous. Agreed? So real numbers are all the numbers represented on a number line. Just imagine drawing a dot somewhere on that number line to represent your number. For example, you can say 1.5. You can draw a dot between the 1 and the 2. Or 3.75. You can draw a dot between the 3 and the 4. Well, slightly closer to the 4 though. Agreed? So anything you can imagine being able to plot on a number line is a real number. This includes positive and negative numbers as well as 0. Average or mean is the sum of a group of numbers divided by the amount of numbers. This is something you may have previously seen. But just for reference, let's review it real quick. So let's say you have a list of numbers, 10, 14, 25, 27, 28, 32, 25, 26, 34. Okay, the first thing you want to do is reorganize that list in either increasing or decreasing order. So smallest to biggest or biggest to smallest. That'll be your choice. In this case, I went with smallest to biggest. 10, 14, 25, 25, 26, 27, 28, 32, and 34. They're listed in order now. Okay, so up next we want to add them, add the quantities. 10 plus 14 plus 25 plus 25 plus 26 plus 27 plus 28 plus 32 plus 34. This is where a calculator could come in handy. So add them all together. You should get 221. Double check my answer, make sure I got it correctly. I may have made a mistake, but still helps, agreed? Okay, so in that case, once you get the sum, we check how many numbers did we have. So there it is, the first number. So we have one number, two numbers, three numbers, four numbers, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 numbers. We have a total of 9 numbers. So that helps out, knowing how many numbers you have, because that's going to be used for averaging. In other words, dividing. So you take the sum, which is 221, and divide it by the amount of numbers you have. We have 9 numbers total. So 221 divided by 9 gives us that our average is roughly 24.6. So 24.6 is our average. What does the average mean? Well, it's just the center point for a sum. When you add them and divide by the amount of numbers you have, it's the center area or center point location. Roughly 24.6 in this case. Okay. So once again, we call this the average, or sometimes you'll hear as the mean. What is the mean value? Average or mean value represent in this case the same. So, medium, just to add a few notes to the notes. Medium is the middle number of an organized increasing or decreasing order set of numbers. So, medium, middle number, that's about it. Middle number. Take a look at our organized number. Which one is your middle number? Okay, we'll come back to it real quick. On the other hand, mode. Mode is the number that occurs the most often. Take a look at our set of numbers. Which ones occur the most often? Sometimes you'll have no mode because none of them are repeated, so you say no mode. Or sometimes they repeat the same amount of times, so you say no mode because they repeat the same amount of times. Agreed? But if one of the numbers repeats more often, then you say which one repeats more often as the mode. Okay, so medium, middle number. Let's see. 26. 26 is the middle number, agreed? There it is. If you count from the left and the right side inwards, you'll count 1 on each side, 2 on each side, 3 on each side, 4 on each side, and finally 5 is the middle number. So the 26 is the fifth number coming from the exteriors. It's the center number. And once again, the mode, the one that occurs more often is the 25s, pardon me. 25 occurs twice, so the mode is 25. Once again, this is just a measurement of central tendency. In other words, which ones are your central values? So your average, in this case, is a center value. Medium, center value. Mode, which ones occur most often, center value. Or in other words, it's going to affect your center value.